I'm going to show you 3 things that you need to do to get a test environment for Power BI. Hi, I'm Adam Saxon and welcome to Guy in a Cube, a channel dedicated to helping you and your business gain insight by learning and exploring on the Microsoft Business Intelligence stack. And today I want to talk about how you can actually get a test environment for Power BI, or a test tenant. There are different ways to go about doing this. One is that you can actually go sign up for your own domain, like just go buy it like I did with guyinacube.com, and make sure it has email and then go sign up with that. The other way, which is probably a little easier for you and doesn't cost anything, is to actually go sign up for an Office 365 trial. I had a few discussions over the last couple weeks where people wanted to try out the admin features of Power BI, and they weren't an IT admin or a global admin within their actual organization. Also, I've had some discussions with folks where they didn't have a work email address and they wanted to actually try Power BI and see what it had to offer for them. If you're in either camp, this will work for you. Or if you just want to actually have a test environment to actually deploy something to, then this will work also. Step 1 is we need to have a managed tenant. That means you're an actual declared admin inside of an O365 tenant or Azure Active Directory tenant. They're pretty much the same thing in this context. We can do that by actually signing up for an E3 or an E5 Office 365 trial. Now, the difference between E3 and E5 for the purposes of this discussion is that E5 actually includes a Power BI Pro license. I'm going to talk a little bit later about the Power BI Pro license, but to make it easier for you, if you just choose E5, it'll already have it, so you don't have to do the things I'm going to talk about later. Okay, so how do we sign up for E3 or E5 trial tenant? We can do this by going to office.com, then you can go to products. Under business, you're going to see enterprise. Go ahead and select that, and then select compare plans and pricing. In there, you will see a couple of different options. Under E3 or E5, you want to select learn more. And then within that, you want to select free trial. Once you select free trial, you'll get a form to fill in your information. You want to put in your actual email address, even if that's a Gmail account or whatever. This is not going to be the email address you will sign into Power BI with. This is just a way that they can actually send you information about your tenant that you're creating. On the next screen, you're going to see the actual information to provide for your actual tenant. So you'll put in your username, and then the other box is the part of the email address. This is your tenant name. This has to be a unique name and one that's available in the system. So in my case, I'm actually selecting Cube Tests and giving it a date. And this will be the actual email address that you sign into Power BI with. So go ahead and give it a password and then go to the next screen. Make sure you keep track of this email address. Once that's done, you may need to wait a few minutes as it's setting up your actual tenant. Now that you've done that, you actually have an E3 or E5 trial tenant. So this includes Exchange Online. So this has email capabilities within inside of it, as well as SharePoint and some other features that come with that trial. And as I mentioned before, E5 includes Power BI Pro. Okay, step 2 is going to be to sign up for Power BI. And before we do this, make sure that you're in like an incognito or an in private window within your browser to avoid any clashing of cookies. So then we want to go to powerbi.com, and then we want to choose Get Started Free, which is over on the left. Do not choose Sign In. If you try to sign in, you may get an error indicating that no license assignment has occurred. We need to do the sign up piece of this. The exception to that would be that if you did have the E5, you've already got a Power BI Pro license, and so you can actually sign in. But for the purposes of this, we're going to do sign up. And so when we go to the Get Started Free, we're going to enter in the email address that we created for our tenant. This will identify that this account is already part of an organization, and it will go and try to apply that license to your tenant. After that's done, we can skip adding additional invitations, and then we'll see Preparing Power BI. And after it's done preparing, you'll actually see the welcome screen for Power BI where you can actually go and grab data. Okay, at this point, we've actually got Power BI as a free user. We can go ahead and use those features already. And if all you're interested in is the free edition of Power BI, you're good to go. But if you want Power BI Pro, that will take us to step 3. And step 3 is we want to actually get Power BI Pro as part of this trial tenant. Again, if you chose E5, you've already got Power BI Pro, so you're good to go. The easiest way to get Power BI Pro is to actually sign up for the 60-day free trial within the Power BI service. You can do that if you're at the welcome screen. Go ahead and select Databases, and then SQL Server Analysis Services, and then Connect. And this will prompt you to actually get the 60-day free trial. So we want to go ahead and try Pro for free, and then start the trial. This won't actually add a license to your tenant, but it will give you the ability to try the Pro features for 60 days. Okay, I've got a bonus step for you that if you want to actually try this with Analysis Services Live Connections, that'll take us to step 4. And so step 4 is to actually set up an enterprise gateway. And when you do that for an Analysis Services data source, you can go to map usernames and you can map your onmicrosoft.com, the email address that you signed in with, you can map that to a local UPN. So for me, that would be my onmicrosoft.com email address, and I want to map that to asaxton@microsoft.com. And then I could use that with my actual on-premise domain. And that should give you the full functionality of Power BI that you can test with and try out. Okay, if you have any questions or comments about what we talked about, go ahead and leave that down in the comment section below. Also, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, or if you want more information, you can go to guyinacube.com. Every Tuesday, I do a technical item such as this, where I either look at how something works, I look at a feature, or I look at how to troubleshoot something. Every Thursday, I do an information roundup where I look at the last week, find things that were interesting to me, and share that out with you. And really, this is about you. I want to help you be more effective and successful in the things that you do. So go ahead and subscribe and be part of the conversation.